Good evening, everyone. My name is Jenelle Riley. I'm the film and television editor for Backstage. I'm so proud to be here tonight for this SAG Foundation conversation with the artist. This is the film that just last night was named Best Picture of the Year by the Broadcast Film Critics Association at the Critics' Choice Movie Awards. Not just one of the best films of the year, it's one of the most entertaining. Those don't always go hand in hand. And it features outstanding performances from a great ensemble, some of which I'd like to welcome now. I'd like to start with really, genuinely one of my favorite actresses. She is a perennial scene stealer. Some of her films, because I don't have time to list them all, believe me, include Dodgeball, Galaxy Quest, and Big Fish. Please welcome Missi Pyle. I don't know if you can cross screen.
Yes.
Also with us, we have the actor who plays George's loyal servant, Clifton. He's appeared in dozens of films, including the classics Babe and LA Confidential, and he is a member of the Screen Actors Guild Board. Please welcome James Cromwell. Finally, I'm pleased to introduce the star of the film. He has appeared in many films in his native France. This year, last year, I keep forgetting it's a new year. He won the Best Actor Award at the Cannes Film Festival, and he is also nominated for a SAG Award, a Golden Globe Award, and an Independent Spirit Award for his performance as Georges Valentin. Please welcome Jean Dujardin. And how about a round of applause for his translator, Tanya?
Because I'm French. Sorry. Allez? Merci.
Yeah, actually, your English is excellent. When did you start learning English?
No. Thanks, my coach. No, I have to learn with who are you? With Tanya. No, it's better and better, more and more.
When did you start learning?
J'ai 39 years old. 39. Non, j'ai commencé en octobre, septembre. In October.
Wow, that's really fantastic.
C'est pour ça que je fais des films muets, d'ailleurs.
That's why he makes silent movies.
Thank you all so much for being here. Congratulations on a beautiful film. I guess I want to start at the beginning with Jean, because this is your third collaboration with director Michel
Hazanavicius.
Thank you. I cannot tell you how many times I practiced that and said it perfectly in the mirror. How did your collaboration begin? Where did you two meet and start working together?
It was for OSS 117, a comedy, a pastiche of James Bond. My character was a stupid French spy. Yeah, always stupid. And after we made OSS 2, and now the artist.
And what was your reaction when he told you he wanted to make a black and white silent film?
I said, "Are you crazy? Are you lunatic?" I thought. Okay. No, I said, "What do you want? What would you like? What kind of silent movie would you like?" Because it's very difficult to finance this project in France and in the world. But what do you want? If you want Chaplin or Keaton, a pantomime, it's very difficult for me, because there's geniuses and not me. And he said no. There are another kind of silent movie like Murnau's movies, and we watched together Murnau's movies, King Vidor's movies, Sunrise, The Crowd. And I understood what Michel wanted. A love story, a simple story between George Valentine and Peppy Miller.
And what about for the other actors? How did this project come to you, and what was your reaction when you heard it would be silent, black and white?
Mine was a little different than James's, in the sense that I went and auditioned. And my agent called and said, it's a silent film. And I was like, that sounds ridiculous, but let's do it. And I got a small booklet that I read. It was easy to read, took a few minutes. And I went there and auditioned for the role of his wife, Penelope Ann Miller's part, which I didn't know I wasn't playing until I got to the set. So, but apparently somebody told me that they auditioned a lot of people for a lot of, like, I can't remember the actor's name who played the police officer.
Oh, Murray, Joel Murray?
I think so, yes. I believe he auditioned for Jean's part. I think it was I think they had a lot of people auditioning for the same thing. But I just got a small Xerox copy of a script. What did you get, James?
You got a small Xerox copy. You didn't get the book that was with the... Oh,
I don't even know what you're talking about.
oh come on. No, they sent me... first of all, when they call you and tell you that they're going to do this in this town where you know that even established directors can't get a film made in black and white because the industry says that's crazy, it's not commercial. So you hear that it's going to be a black and white silent film with two unknown to us French actors, and this guy's got to be out of his mind. And then you ask for the script, and it's not a script, it's not a shooting script. It's a short story printed on very nice paper. A good start, with photographs of Jean and Berenice in costume, in period, in front of Paramount or at the Bradbury, and you look, and it's very artistically done, very professional, and then I'm sort of a rebel and iconoclast, and I like doing things that sort of thumbs my nose at the industry and their lack of vision and their cowardice. And so I thought, well, this is right up my alley. I mean, if it's going to go down in flames, I want to be part of it. So I I did it.
Missi, I'm curious, what was the audition like? Did you speak the words? Did you act out a scene like you normally would? Or
Yeah, I mean, what's fascinating is, what's great is I didn't have to memorize anything. Party. But thank you. That's my sister. Who just moved to LA to be an actor. Dum-da-dum-dum. Thank you. It was just a script. We did a scene, and when we were doing it, I was like, this is my impression of the director, Michel Hazanavicius. No, Missi, you can use words. We don't record the sound, but you're still talking like a normal person.
so at what point did you find out you weren't playing the wife and there was a completely different character?
Well, I was sitting in the makeup chair, and this incredible makeup artist, what was her name? Yeah, Julie Hewitt. Thank you, Tanya. Julie Hewitt, who's incredible, she said, "Congratulations, you're playing the actress." And I was like, yes, I'm an actress, but I was like, oh, thank you. And then I started to look through the sides, which were just the words. And I think there was some storyboarding. And I was like, I don't see anything where we're at the table with the dog. And I'm drawing, pictures. And then I was like, maybe I'm playing another character.
I hope you hadn't done a lot of preparation to be a wife.
Well, fortunately, it's silent, and I was playing a bad actress, so.
Speaking of, what sort of preparation did you guys do to prepare for these roles, if any?
Sorry, preparation. Yes, I watched a lot of movies with Michel, King Vidor's movies, Douglas Fairbanks movies for his energy, Gene Kelly's movies for his smile, his physicality, and I like that. Sorry, and no, and I watched with Huggy the dog, Lassie, and Rin Tin Tin. And non, j'ai regardé des photos, comme tu dis.
And photo exhibits.
Photo exhibit, yes. And I have fun pretending to be a movie star in 1920.
Did I hear you watched a
Dancing, tap dancing, yeah. Well, 5 months with Berenice Bejo.
Wow.
Yes, I studied with Fabien Ruiz. He was the fastest tap dancer in the world, and it was fun. It was hard. It was fun the first week. Boring 5th week. At the end, it's thrilling.
5 months of
5
tap
months,
dancing?
yes, yeah.
Do you still use it for anything? I mean, do you still know how?
Yes, in my life way, yes. When I walk in the street, yes.
And did I hear you watched a lot of Italian movies to prepare for this?
Yeah, Vittorio Gassman, yes, so for his physicality, for the Italian physicality.
So not necessarily silent Italian films, just
No,
Italian
no,
films?
no, no. Non, comment dire, c'est les acteurs en fait qui m'inspirent.
They're
parfois.
actors who inspire him.
Jean-Paul Belmondo, French actor, Italian actor, American actor. Voilà, tout ce que je peux prendre.
Anything he can take from.
And so you're doing an homage. You're stealing bits and pieces.
Always, yeah. Wait.
And what about for the other actors? Did you do any special preparation?
Well, I actually began my career as a chauffeur in Murder by Death, so I didn't figure I had to do any preparation. So, actually, you're doing a regular film. It's a talking film for us. We have lines and we hear each other, and you're a chauffeur. I mean, you care about him, and yeah.
Hello, Clifton.
Yes, that's right. That's it. And here we are, and it's as easy as that. You just respond. So I didn't. Now they have to do a lot of preparation, and Missi too, because they're playing not only characters in the movie, but they are also movie stars. And in Jean's case and Berenice's case, they act in silent movies. Each one of those is a different adjustment. So it's much more difficult. Mine, I just have to show up and sort of look.
Well, they asked us a lot when we were, being asked questions. How different is it to act in a silent film? But ultimately, this film, I think people wouldn't have responded to it the way they do if it wasn't true. And I feel like you kind of just do the same thing that you try to, obviously, except for when you're being a bad actress. It's just to tell the truth, or to be truthful, which is, I think, why people really responded to it the way they did. So, I mean, it's 2000, we made it in 2011. So, it's and people it really resonated, and I think that's probably why, because of my performance.
We actually have a question from the audience from David. Wants to know what it was like to work without sound people and sound equipment. Was it easier and faster?
Yes.
And it was comfortable, no pressure. There was a lot of noise on set, sometimes, but a lot of music, and the director spoke, the dog trainer spoke. It was like un atelier, comment on peut dire ça?
Like a workshop?
Workshop. Je sais pas.
An atelier.
Non, c'était une nouvelle façon de faire du cinéma.
It was a
quoi.
new way of making cinema, making movies.
And sometimes it was difficult for concentration when you have the dog trainer next to you. When I put the gun in my the gun in my mouth.
Yes, the very
The
comical
dog trainer
scene.
next to you. And the dog said, come on, Iggy, okay, come on, Iggy, speak, Iggy, good boy, come on, Iggy, come on. It's very difficult. Send you, no, oh, come on, Iggy, shut up. What's new?
Another audience question from John Freeman. Right there? Okay. Is talking about your ability to convey emotion without going over the top. Do you have a background in mime, or was it a new skill you had to learn for this film?
Non. En fait, je joue la situation surtout.
He's just playing the situation.
Je joue pas tellement le personnage.
He's not playing the character.
Et au début du film, par exemple, le personnage peut se permettre d'être over the top.
In the beginning, the character can be over the top at the beginning of the movie.
Ensuite, je ne fais que suivre les indications du metteur en scène.
And then after, he just follows the director's direction.
Je viens prêter mes émotions pour la scène.
And he lends his own emotions to the scene.
Mais c'est sa responsabilité à lui de raconter l'histoire.
But it's the director's responsibility to tell the story.
Donc du coup, c'est peut-être effectivement, il y a quelque chose de, il y a une espèce de langage du corps qui opère. Quoi.
Body language.
Et c'est absolument pas intellectuel, c'est très instinctif. Hein?
You can say that in English.
It's not instinctive.
No, it's not.
It's not intellectual. Sorry, it's instinctive. I'm a kid tonight. Come on, John. Yeah. Et c'est tout.
And that's all.
For each of you, what was the hardest part of the shoot for you, or the hardest scene that you had to do?
I didn't speak, I don't speak French, and I was very, I get a little insecure when I go to set, because you don't really know, you don't speak the language. And Jean and I actually spent a lot of time in this roadster together, and he was driving, and it was a very old car, and that made me a little nervous. But also, we didn't really communicate because there was a language barrier. So I would say things like, "Do you like soup?" Which I had just read in a book. That was proper etiquette. And then a friend of mine gave me a dirty French phrase book. So that made the time. And then that made the time go by more quickly.
Do you remember any of those?
Mon Dieu. I will let you use your imagination.
For you?
Well, it's the problem that you always have as a character actor when you're playing a supporting role. You have very little, screen time, and the tendency is to maybe overdo it a little. You have to, you want to convey the emotion, and so you're putting everything. The balance it's very hard to get. You have to trust that Michel, the director, would say, no, that's too much. You can take it down a little. So there are a number of sequence shots that I look at that I wish I had come up with another choice, maybe. But I always feel that way about my work. Only when you're doing this film, even though you are saying the lines, you still don't have the reference in terms of the story, the narrative, of dialogue on which to pitch your performance. So you don't actually know whether you're above it or too much, or below it, undercutting. So it's always tenuous. Sometimes it's just right. When I look at when I bring Jean back and put him in bed, and I look down at the dog or back at him, that's just right. When I come in with the necklace that I've bought for Georges to give to his wife, I know he wanted the scene to change, but I came in with so much energy. It was like, I didn't just come in the door and find them. I really burst into the door I thought, oh man, I shouldn't have done that.
You wanted to have a moment there.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to have a moment. I was trying to be a good boy and do what the director wanted instead of, it's hard when you can't see yourself. Yeah, you have to really, that's the problem with directors. You have to trust them. And they're not always trustworthy, you know what I mean?
And Jean, the most difficult part for you was the tap dancing?
Tap dancing and the fire scene. Yeah.
How long did it take to shoot that final scene? Fire scene. Oh, sorry. How long did it take to shoot the final scene?
La scène finale, on a fait 17 takes.
Wow, it's amazing. Did they use the 17th?
No, the 12th.
But it's 17 of the entire dance. There's no cut.
Yeah.
So it's 17 times through that, which is incredible.
It's amazing.
Why 17?
Why 17?
I don't know.
Can you do it?
Well, that's a lot of takes.
Yeah. Did you do them all in one day, or?
Oui, on a fait ça une journée, mais c'est parce qu'en fait, on voulait.
Yes, I did it in one day.
Les indications de Michel, c'était même si techniquement on n'est pas tout à fait au point,
Michel said even if technically it wasn't perfect,
surtout souriez, souriez.
just smile, smile, smile.
Comme ça, on verra pas vos pieds.
So we won't look at your feet.
Great advice. The response to this film has been so overwhelming. I mean, audiences love it, critics love it. Could you have ever have anticipated this little movie you made last year would have touched so many people?
No.
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 No, no, no.
No. Maybe we should stick to silent.
No, you never know, no matter what, whether it's a silent film or not, when you're in a film, how it's going to turn out. I mean, it's created by a director in a room with an editor, and they take whatever they have and they tell a story that may not be anywhere near the story that you intended to tell while you're doing it. I think we all appreciate Michel's attention to detail, the clarity of his vision, what he saw, and how he created that. So you could tell that there was, in my mind, a master at work. Whether the movie then becomes something that interests the European sensibility and has no, which is one of the questions that I actually asked him. I said, what reference does this movie about a 1920s movie star done as a silent black and white film have for a modern audience? Does it actually touch and reach and make sense to a modern audience, or is it just a gimmick? And of course, it wasn't to him. He knew that he could use the limitations. They aren't really limitations. They're just every medium has its limitations, but you use those limitations in order to tell the story. And he knew that he was able to use the silence and the grayscale as a way to tell a story in a particular way that would engage a contemporary audience, to create a story in their mind and participate in the narrative line of this movie like no other movie with a dialogue that's made today. This is unique. You don't really appreciate that uniqueness until you're sitting in the audience seeing the final result.
And when did you first realize you were onto something special? When you screened it with an audience and saw their reaction, maybe at Cannes? Sorry, Cannes?
Oui, moi je l'ai vu à Cannes, oui.
Yes, he saw it in Cannes.
La première
First
fois,
time.
oui. Je voulais pas le voir avant, moi.
He didn't want to see it beforehand.
Donc j'ai vu le montage final sur un des plus grands écrans d'Europe.
So he saw the final film on one of the biggest screens in Europe.
C'est un très bon souvenir. J'ai trouvé que l'équilibre du film était incroyable.
And it was an amazing moment for him, and he thought the balance of the movie was just
C'est-à-dire le choix des
perfect.
prises, la musique, les lumières,
The music, the light,
le mixage, l'étalonnage, tout.
editing, everything.
What about for you guys?
Well, I also went to Cannes because it was there, and I can. So I went to Cannes. And it's such an incredible scope. Before Cannes, though, when we were filming, there's something about this director, and also I think the French in general. I worked on a lot of American movies, and I always feel like, I remember I did one movie where the line producer had a $100 bill on the monitor, and he kept going to the director, if you check it, he'd go, check, 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 like, I'll give you $100 if you just check the gate. So that to me was really funny. But there's so much time. He took so much time and made it so it was so clear in his mind, and I thought, oh, this is going to be something very beautiful. And then when I did go to Cannes, there was like a 20-minute standing ovation. It was ridiculous. I couldn't believe it, and obviously they're Europeans, and they like to do things for a long time. But I was like, is this normal? And I was talking to Jean's wife, and she was like, I don't think this is normal.
That was your imitation of Jean's wife?
Was it okay? Was it good for you?
Now I want to hear her imitation of you. As I mentioned before, both Jean and Berenice are nominated for SAG Awards. But what's so great is that the ensemble has been nominated. It's wonderful that SAG has that category. How did you find out about the nomination, and what was your reaction?
I think the Weinsteins told.
Harvey called, or?
Yeah, somebody. Somebody said something. I mean, I don't read the trades, so I don't know what's happening. What's to me, as a longtime SAG member, this film is peopled with some of the most wonderful character actors and faces that I have known since I have been here. And to see them support this film, and every one of those actors, the specificity and the joy in their work. Both of the cops, the woman who points out to the cop that the dog might want the cop to follow him, Basil, who is the auctioneer who comes out to tell Georges that everything is sold, and he's like really pleased and sees and feels the disappointment in Georges, and his face drops. Or the nurse and the doctor as they watch Berenice, that sweetness, that's us. That's our member. Those are not A-list actors. Those are not. These are your peers. This is the kind of work we do, and it's wonderful to see it in such a brilliant context and getting the recognition that it deserves.
This probably doesn't apply to Jean, but can I ask you guys how you got your SAG cards? Do you have a SAG card?
No, not with me. How did you get yours? Do you remember?
Yeah, I think because then when you joined, I joined AFTRA was first, I think. No, Actors Equity was first, which got me into AFTRA, and then because I was in AFTRA, you could go right down and get into the Screen Actors Guild, which I did not do because I didn't have the money until I actually got a job, which was my first film, which was the first film I ever went out for, auditioned for. And I got the first television show that I went out for, and the first commercial.
What?
So
You got the first one?
And it's been downhill.
What was the film?
What?
What was your first film?
Murder by Death.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, with incredible, Maggie Smith and David Niven, and Alec Guinness and Peter Falk and Truman Capote and Nancy Walker, and it was incredible. And to be 11 weeks with those people as a beginner, my first film, was extraordinary. Just a wonderful way as an introduction into this business. I was an equal with all those people, and so I really felt, this is where I belong. Of course, then reality comes up and smacks you on the side of the head. That's not the way this town is organized. And you go through the same, the agony and the anxiety that you'll never work and you'll never make it and it won't amount to anything. And how will I do this? And I'm a big, tall, goofy-looking guy. And what are they going to do with me? And they claim, oh, no, we can't use him in films. He's a he works in situation comedies. Then you do films and you do LA Confidential, and then they say, no, he can't do comedy. He does these terrible guys. And you said, well, yeah, but for 10 years I did comedy and you wouldn't cast me.
I have the tall problem as well. I think I had 2 lines in As Good as It Gets. Thank you. I was
Do
one
you
of the
remember them?
waitresses. Yes, I said to Jack Nicholson, "It's about time."
one of them, and then thank you. And then I said to Helen Hunt, I do remember, of course, do you want to borrow my earrings for your date? It wasn't much, but it was also an Academy Award nominated, not that we had, but the movie.
No, it's so funny. I remember those scenes exactly.
Oh,
yes,
you
I totally do. Yes. And John, how did you find out about your SAG Award nomination?
Qui m'a dit ça? Je sais plus. C'est les Weinstein, oui, la Weinstein.
Weinstein Company.
Yeah.
Someone at the company, or did like Harvey ring you up?
Ah non, non, il fait appeler, lui.
No, so people call for him. I mean, he doesn't call.
He doesn't work a phone. Because we do have so many actors here, another thing we like to talk about, which you brought up, was the audition process. Would you be willing to share your worst audition experience with us?
All of them. Well, luckily, you know, my father was a director out here, made 57 pictures. Both of my mothers were wonderful actresses and did very well. So when I came to this town, I had a big chip on my shoulder, and I loathed the audition process. And I never got them, of course, because the chip was so big that that's the first thing the director saw, no matter what I did as an actor. I got the first ones, but then it became increasingly more difficult. And I must say, my first television show was with Norman Lear, and then I did one show after another of Norman, so I didn't have to audition. And then when you get an Academy Award nomination, even if you don't win the award, it means you never have to audition again. So I get to avoid that process.
Really?
Yes. So they were all horrible. No matter what I tried to do, if I memorized the lines to look up, and then I would forget them. If I read them, I would bury my face in the paper. If I reacted to the producer in order to impress him with my intensity, it scared the crap out of him, and they didn't want anything to do with me. So I didn't like it at all.
Ma pire audition? Moi, j'ai commencé par du one-man show
He started as a one-man show
dans des cabarets à Paris.
in bars and cabarets in Paris.
Et je suis arrivé dans un cabaret et j'ai commencé un sketch.
And he walked into a cabaret and he started one of his sketch
Et
numbers.
au bout d'une minute, il me dit arrête.
And after a minute, he said, stop.
Il me dit tout le spectacle est comme ça.
He asked, is the whole show like this?
Je dis oui.
And he said, yes.
Et il me dit merci, au
He
revoir.
said, thank you, goodbye.
Mais c'est un bon souvenir,
But it's a
bizarrement.
good memory, actually.
Sure, now. Are you trying to narrow them down over there?
I was trying to decide whether or not I should say one of them aloud because it's if you weren't recording it. Oh, all right, I'll say it. You know, I have some. I always thought I was smarter when I was a little high. So I was on my way to this audition, and I had a prescription for a lollipop, but made of sugar and pot. And I was like, I'm gonna be so incredible. It's gonna be so real and raw, fresh. And then it was a long drive. It was to Santa Monica. I started in Echo Park, looking at I got over to like Robertson in the 10, and I was like, oh shit. And I had worked on the lines, but I couldn't remember any of them. And I was like, oh my, and it was like a film. It was I'm not gonna say it was recent, but it was kind of recent. I never did it before. And I walked in the room, and there was literally like this many people in the first 2 rows, and I was so paranoid. And they started asking me questions about my personal life, and then when we got to the script, I couldn't remember anything. I was legitimately like just reading it this way. But I did get a call back.
Of course you did.
Please don't tell anyone I said that. Especially my sisters in the back.
Question from Colleen Ann Braw. Did I pronounce that right? Thank you. Wants to know, what's the one thing as an actor that you wish you knew when you first started?
Rien du tout.
Nothing at all.
Non, parce que ce qui est très agréable, je parlais justement du one-man show.
What's nice, I was just talking about the one-man show.
Et c'est de se prendre parfois des murs.
Is to, sometimes go straight into a wall.
C'est d'avoir des certitudes.
To have certitude and certainty.
Et puis des doutes.
And then doubts.
Et en fait, c'est ça qui est bien dans la carrière, je trouve, c'est les préliminaires, j'allais dire.
And what's good in your career is the preliminary phase.
C'est quand ça monte comme ça. Donc j'étais très content d'être naïf à l'époque
So
aussi.
he's very happy to have been naive at the time.
En revanche, il y a des choses que je ne referai plus à l'époque. Enfin, je veux dire, je ne retournerai plus sur scène tout seul.
But now, on the other hand, he would never do stand-up.
À faire du one-man show.
Do a one-man
J'ai
show
l'impression
now.
que c'est pas moi du tout d'ailleurs qui ai fait ça.
Yeah, he can't believe he even did that.
I think it's kind of similar. I think, when I was younger, I'm so much more shocked, like afraid now than I was then, and I think so. I think it's, I don't even know. It just I actually miss that sense of. I guess when you fail and you're at the bottom, there's really nowhere else to go. So there's something beautiful about that. I've been fired a couple times, and it's awful.
I know.
But the best things kind of come out of an experience like that. So I think it's just knowing that there are so many ups and downs in this business, obviously, and knowing that when you get really, it's just going to go back up. Like, I'm so excited to be here. It's really nice.
I guess mine was, well, so many things. I was a chicken shit. Meaning that I was a good boy. I never wanted to flub a line. I always wanted to get it right on the first take. So I never allowed my spontaneity and my inventiveness, my creation to come out. I was always trying to satisfy somebody else. So there was a lot of second guessing and negativity and this yama yama, as my teacher used to say, in my head, which mostly invalidated what I had to do. And it took me a long time to realize that when I felt uncomfortable in a scene, that it wasn't necessarily my fault. I knew enough in my head to know that the scene was blocked incorrectly or that line didn't work, but I didn't have the chutzpah to say, Can we rethink? Can we stop for a second? Because you're not the lead. That you're just the second or third or fourth banana, and it really was nothing in this business succeeds like success. When you have some, you start to give yourself permission to be fully self-expressed, and that's the most difficult thing to do, and it's the only thing that is of any value in the process. As my teacher Milton Kitselis used to say, do not serve the script. Serve yourself. Take what's there and make it yours, because that's what they see. They're not interested in the words on the page. They're interested in who you are and how you feel about things and think about things and respond to things. And it took me they want to see me, and it's okay, and I can stand up, and it doesn't matter if I'm in, if it's Bruce Willis, I still have a point of view. I can still say, no, I don't think that's the way it goes. We should change that, and it's been very liberating.
I want to thank you guys again for coming out to spend some time with us this evening. We appreciate it so much. Congratulations on a beautiful film and all its success. It's so deserved.
Thank you.
Thank you.